Mabuhay! I'm Juan Paulo and Del Valle. I'm here to bring some news. A ransomware attack on Collins Aerospace Muse check-in system in September 25 caused major European airports, notably Berlin Brandenburg, to experience operational disruptions. This study examines Eurosky Airlines Flight EU451 passenger service failure, which resulted in lengthy delays, missing flights, and customer anxiety due to poorly executed manual check-in procedures. The first response lacked clear communication, empathy, and backup plans. Two different approaches are suggested to overcome these failures. One, a digital redundancy protocol that permits offline check-in and mobile assistance, and training frontline employees in predictive service to foresee and lessen passenger annoyance. Repairing consumer trust, improving operational resilience, and conforming to international best practices in aviation crisis management are the goals of these solutions.
Issues at other European airports. Officials in Belgium say at least 9 flights were cancelled at Brussels airport and many others were delayed. Berlin Airport said the attackers targeted the check-in system, causing long delays to departures. Well, we can speak to Simon Calder, travel correspondent. Thank you for joining us, Simon. I can see that you're in the Czech Republic. Tell us, how serious do you think this cyber attack is?
Well, it's extremely worrying. And of course, there will be tens of thousands of passengers affected. And I can spin through what is happening where. But the fact that this is happening on a busy late summer's day across Europe is very, very worrying. And of course, the airlines will want to know what went wrong and what's being done to stop it in the future. Piecing together the information we have from various airports across Europe, it seems clear that this is software that is operated by a company called Collins Aerospace. They sort out the check-in and the baggage registration for a large number of airlines at various airports. Exactly as you say, Brussels in Belgium appears to be worst affected. Berlin also hit. London Heathrow delays there. And crucially, well, at Brussels, they're saying, as well as the flight cancellations, that you shouldn't even go to the airport unless you know for certain that your flight is going to be departing. Berlin is saying expect delays. I've got a couple of cancellations going in and out of there. For example, Eurowings to Nice, Paris on Air France. But looking at Heathrow, the main problem is actually long delays. For example, the flight from Berlin to Heathrow that was due in about 2 hours ago, BA 999. That's currently over Rotterdam at the moment, and that clearly is going to mean that people miss a lot of connections. And the same thing going outbound from Heathrow. So, for instance, the first flight of the day, 6 a.m. TAP Portugal to Lisbon, that was 2 hours late leaving. That's going to mean missed connections in the Portuguese capital. And then the two crucial hubs, Amsterdam Schiphol and Paris Charles de Gaulle, well, the first flights out from Heathrow on KLM and on Air France, respectively, were 2.5 to 3 hours late. As a result of that, again, missed connections. And given the way that aviation, of course, is under such high pressure and everything needs to work well, I'm afraid we could see further things unraveling as the day goes on. The main message is assume your flight is going ahead unless you hear otherwise, but be prepared for delays and disruption.
Simon, looking at the numbers coming into us at the moment, we know that there have been nearly 100 delays at Heathrow, 70 in Brussels, 15 in Berlin. Are we likely to see any more at this point, do you think?
Well, yes, because if you take, for example, there's an EasyJet flight that set off from Lisbon, which also appears to be having some disruption, to Birmingham. It was over an hour late leaving. That flight then goes back to Lisbon. It's supposed to be going off to Funchal in Madeira, then off to Marrakesh. And the low-cost airlines, although they don't seem to be as badly affected, once their schedules start getting hit, then that causes problems. disruptions because, of course, they allow typically half an hour between a flight arriving and when it leaves again with a fresh contingent of passengers on board. Worth saying that EasyJet believe that they don't think there will be major problems. But honestly, who knows what will happen? I fear that with planes being late and out of position, we could see some deterioration before things start to get better. And of course, questions being asked. Meanwhile, if you are on a flight, then it is the airline's responsibility. If it is cancelled or delayed severely, if you miss a connection, they are responsible for getting you to your destination as soon as possible, providing meals and accommodation as necessary. But you won't be getting any cash compensation under air passenger rights rules because it manifestly isn't their fault. And they are furious at yet more airport disruption that is costing them a fortune.
Simon Calder, thank you for running through all of those developments and, of course, that all-important advice. Thank you. That's Simon Calder, our travel correspondent in the Czech Republic.
On September 19, 2025, a massive cyber attack struck several major European airports, crippling the check-in, baggage and boarding system that used Collins Aerospace VMUS platform. The EU Cybersecurity Agency later confirmed that it was a ransomware incident, heavily impacting Brussels Zaventem, London Heathrow, and Berlin Brandenburg. One affected flight, Brussels International Airways flight BIA 714 to London Heathrow, was delayed from 2:45 p.m. to 4:25 p.m. after the system froze, forcing staff to rely on handwritten passes and manual baggage tags, causing about a dozen passengers to miss their connections. Overall, the attack led to dozens of cancelled flights and thousands of stranded travelers between September 20 to 22, making one of Europe's worst aviation IT breakdowns since the 2010 volcanic ash crisis.
A cyber attack has been causing chaos at some of Europe's busiest airports this Saturday. Hackers targeted check-in services and electronic baggage facilities at airports in London, Brussels and Berlin. Analysts say the intrusion exposes vulnerabilities in air transport security systems. It's not clear who was behind the attack.
This was the scene at London's Heathrow Airport, Europe's second largest in terms of the number of flights and passengers. Dozens of flights have been delayed or cancelled due to a cyber attack targeting a service provider for check-in and boarding systems. Airline agents are having to use manual procedures for passenger check-ins, baggage drop, and boarding.
This is not common at all. Collins Aerospace, who have been affected by this cyber attack, is one of the biggest aviation and defense companies in the world, employing over 80,000 people. And it's deeply worrying that a company of that stature, who normally have such resilient systems in place, have been affected. This is a very clever cyber attack indeed, because it's affected a number of airlines and airports at the same time. Not just one airport or one airline, but they've got into the core system that enables airlines to effectively check in many of their passengers at different desks at different airports around Europe. This is highly significant.
It was a similar story at Berlin Brandenburg Airport. Travelers have been advised to check with their airline before leaving home to confirm the status of their flights. And it wasn't clear when operations would return to normal.
Sadly, it's going to affect traffic for most of the day, but that's assuming they get this system back up and running. If they can't work out how to recover this system, it's going to take many days before they're able to get it back online.
Passengers stuck at the airport are complaining that airlines have not been giving them enough information about what's going on and about the lack of staff.
Yeah, no organisation, nobody's told us anything what's going on. We've had to literally cherry pick it ourselves and get as much information as we can, which has been little or nothing.
Some flights are actually taking off after long delays. So for now, what passengers will need in abundance is patience.
So upon our research, we come up with alternative solutions and recommendations. Solution 1. Digital Redundancy Protocol. This is a primary recommendation. Step 1. Equip check-in counters with offline-capable tablets preloaded with manifests. Step 2. Conduct quarterly emergency digital workflow trainings for staff. Step 3. Deploy mobile check-in teams with handheld scanners to assist passengers. And this moderately costs, according to our sources, 50,000 euros per hub, or 3.750 million per hub. Implementation within 3 months. It requires minimal infrastructure, overhaul, and leverages existing tech. Solution 2. Predictive service training. This is a policy change. Introduce a training module based on anticipatory service theory to help staff identify early signs of passenger distress. Use AI-driven passenger flow modeling to alert staff of potential bottlenecks. It aligns with digitization and human-centered design trends in aviation. And in comparing and justifying our solutions, it will reduce wait times and missed flights, enhancing communications and emotional support, mitigating legal risk or lessening legal risk from denied boarding, restoring brand trust, and aligning with industry resilience standards.
So what's happening is that one of our external service providers, who provide us with a system for passenger check-in and boarding, was hit by a cyber attack last night. This is impacting Brussels Airport, but also other European airports. What we're seeing this morning is that there's still no solution yet.
Mabuhay, I am Carol Christine Balielos. As we conclude, proposed solutions like digital redundancy protocols and predictive service training can help prevent similar failures. By combining technology with human-centered service, airlines can strengthen crisis response, maintain customer confidence, and build long-term resilience in today's digital aviation environment. The ransomware attack on Collins Aerospace Muse system caused major disruptions across airlines, exposing how unprepared many were for sudden digital failures. Eurosky Airlines struggled to manage the situation, communication with passengers broke down, and manual check-ins led to confusion and frustration. Although flights continued, the lack of clear updates and emotional support damaged passenger trust in the airline's reputation. This case highlights that recovery isn't just about fixing systems, it also requires strong communication, empathy, and fast decision-making.